freedom's fight. Oh, one, strong and free. Africa is our own motherland, fashioned with and blessed by the sun. Oh, one, strong and free. One nation is our cry. Dignity and peace meet Zambia's sky. Like a noble eagle in its flight, Zambia, praise to thee. Oh, one, strong and free. Praise be to God. Praise be, praise be, praise be. Bless our nation, Zambia, Zambia. Free men we stand under the flag of our land, Zambia, praise to thee. Oh, one, strong and free.
We have an opening prayer from Honorable Mwina.
Thank you very much. So we pray. Our dear God, we come to you this morning with grateful hearts that you have made this day yet again to make us work for your people. God, we gather here this morning realizing the mandate that you have given to us as leaders in this great nation to represent you as we lead the people that you yourself have rendered to us. Now, God, we invite you to be with us in this meeting. Guide our thoughts and our discussions as we deliberate on the many issues that are affecting this country, that are affecting your people. We ask, God, that you begin with this meeting with us and end with us. We pray in the name of your Son and our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. So we'll start our interaction with introduction of the high table. Sitting right next to me here is Honorable Robert Francis Kapianga, Member of Parliament for Mpika. Next to Honorable Kapianga is Honorable Chonde Saka, Member of Parliament for Milenge. Next is sitting next to Honorable Mundubile is Honorable Lucas Simumba, Member of Parliament for Nakonde, and on the last end is Honorable Gordon Mwina, Member of Parliament for Mufuliro. And I'm your host this morning. My name is Melesiana Piri, Member of Parliament for Milanzi constituency in Katete, Eastern Province. So we are here today for a press briefing for Honorable Brian Mundubile, Member of Parliament for Mporokoso. He is also Parliamentary Affairs Chairperson for PF and Tonse Alliance, and most importantly, the discredited Bill 7 as well as mass voter registration. It's now my honor and privilege to invite Honorable Brian Mundubile to address the media.
Thank you very much, Director of Ceremonies. I wish to acknowledge the presence of members of Parliament and indeed members of the press. Good morning. Thank you for coming, and I wish to start by commending you for the role as a fourth estate in strengthening our democracy. As we embark on this journey to offer ourselves for national leadership as President of Zambia, we reaffirm our strong belief in a thriving and independent media environment. We are planning to make these media briefings a regular activity. We would like to use these briefings to share our bold and transformative ideas on how we can rebuild Zambia. We also believe that regular interactions with you, the media, will help raise the level of public debate around the issues that surround the 2026 elections. Since entering public service, we have made a solemn pledge to conduct our politics purely based on issues and not personal attacks. And this we shall engage, and this we shall continue on this race to State House. These media engagements will also help draw the distinction between what we believe in and the solutions that we are offering, and those coming from a group of people that has failed the nation over the past 4 years. Members of the press, we are here today to talk about two very important subjects. One to do with the constitutional amendment process and indeed voter registration. Allow me, through this interaction, to share our position on a very important national issue to do with constitutional making process. As you are aware, I'm a constitutional legal scholar. Even as I discuss this from a position of authority. To start with, any constitutional reform effort should be one that reflects the aspirations and will of the Zambian people, and not one driven more by political expedience and self-interest on the part of government of the day, rather than by a genuine desire to deliver a more transparent and accountable constitution. You are aware, members of the press, that on the 2nd of October, His Excellency the President appointed a 25-man committee in exercise of his powers under Articles 92.1, 92.2.1, and 92.2J. As earlier stated, it is important to establish a democratic constitutional order. The process should be done within what one can call immutable or fundamental principles in constitution making. These include transparency, accountability, dialogue, legal framework, among others. When you look at the various processes leading up to Bill 7, including the judgment from the Constitutional Court, you will agree with me that this particular process undertaken by the UPND falls short of the standards that I've just outlined above. It is therefore of concern that the UPND government and President Hakainde Hichilema would want to continue pushing this particular process, even when the rest of the country and other stakeholders have expressed their reservations. Reservations, firstly, to start with the appointment and swearing in of the 25-member technical committee on the drafting of the Constitution. the reservations stemming from the composition of the technical committee, where many believe that a more diverse and broader representation of Zambians could have been achieved in the committee's composition. The 25-member committee includes several names of non-political operatives of the UPND who compromise the integrity of the committee and what is expected to produce. Many legal scholars have equally expressed their reservations on the manner of appointment, citing the law that was used or was exercised in making these appointments. The President believes that this committee is to undertake special duties on behalf of the executive. I want to tell you that the constitution amendment process is a process that involves Zambians generally. It therefore cannot be referred to as special duties to a limited few. It's a process to be undertaken by stakeholders from a cross-section of the society, including the church, professional bodies like the Association of Zambia, students, members of parliament, and many others. But if we look at this particular committee, you will agree with me that most of the names on that list are very familiar. We therefore do not expect this committee to come up with a credible constitutional reform. So we are calling upon His Excellency the President to look through the path that this Constitutional Amendment Bill number 7 has taken, to listen to the voices of the many stakeholders, listen to the church, listen to the Law Association of Zambia, listen to your members of parliament, and many other stakeholders across the country. You are aware that this particular process is not new. The constitutional amendment process is not new to Zambia. Around 2019-2020, we undertook a constitutional amendment process of Constitutional Amendment Bill number 10, the famous Bill 10. You will agree with me that Bill 10 conformed to the immutable or fundamental principles in constitution making, because there was transparency in that process. That process was governed by a legal framework. There was an act of parliament that governed the process. There was dialogue in that process. But in this particular case, one would agree with me that if we were to undertake the various processes required under new constitutionalism as outlined above, there is no time left before the elections that this constitution amendment process will be concluded. That is to say, the time remaining between now and the elections is not enough to undertake a credible constitutional reform process. If the process is rushed, we don't expect, therefore, to have a credible product. And the credible product we are looking at a constitution that would be inclusive, legitimate, and durable. I wish to express my doubts that if the EPND government is to rush the process through between now and the time we go to elections, I doubt that it would produce a constitution that will be inclusive, legitimate, and indeed durable. So I want to make a call to His Excellency the President to consider suspending this process, to consider suspending the constitutional amendment process, suspend the work of the committee, and defer this process to commence after the 2026 elections, so that the Zambian people can be given an inclusive, legitimate, and durable constitution. Members of the press, another issue that I wish to discuss is the launch of the mass voter registration exercise by the Electoral Commission of Zambia, which opened on Monday, October 13th, 2025. We welcome the launch of the very important exercise, but would like to point out some key challenges observed on day one of the exercise. We are glad that the Electoral Commission of Zambia has launched the voter registration exercise, but we are deeply disappointed with a clear lack of preparedness on the first day, as most centers did not have the materials and the staff. The staff had clearly not been briefed about the exercise, and the centers had no signage, no registration kits, and so on and so forth. In cases where they had registration kits, the reports coming from our various constituencies are that most of these registration kits were non-functional or were simply malfunctioning. We have also learned with disappointment that these registration kits were actually sent out without having been tested here in Lusaka before being distributed. We are aware and have been part of this electoral management process as members of parliament and indeed members of political parties. We know that many a time this equipment arrived in the country in good time, and various tests were done or conducted to ensure that the equipment was functional before being deployed. So we want to call upon the ECZ to think through these challenges that have surfaced very early and begin to look at extending this particular registration period. Notable among the challenges also include the deployment plans. Ordinarily, we would have expected that the deployment plan would have been released even a week before commencement. Reports coming from various constituencies and districts are that the staff from ECZ arrived and exercise commenced without the deployment plan having been released. We saw that a day after or so, we saw on social media people forwarding some deployment plans for certain areas. That is really a flaw in that process. Ukuingi okubale twala mukamkulembesha bakuvota twasangiro kuti ilia deployment plan nangu plan ile lange fe balaenda nefe balabomba tayali ko kulia yo. So ba ECZ imibombele ya unomuku ile muneka kwatina yibela bantu nangu ba machine abengiye balefika kulia nabakwata amafya lekana ba machine tebalebomba yo bafika abantu limo abantu balefika kwa bulaba machine abo balefika na ba machine balisanga tabalebomba ekyo kanshi tulefu kulomba kuli ba ECZ ukuti ukulingana na mafya twapitamo kuti chawama sana ukuti balolesha panchita iyo bachiti allocate kunchendeshi nokumuno kuti bapela ma voters inchita ilingire pakuti bengachita register chimbi ekyo twamwene kale kwaleba abalechita registration yama NRC munchende imoine nabalechita registration of voters. If it's taken nomba abengina bamuchita balefika kuma centers believing that aba NRC naboko bali basende reg elo nomba balembeshenga voter. Now it has been discovered that the civil registration for NRCs is not ongoing. So this has caused further challenges in most of these areas because people expect that the two processes could run side by side, where people who had no opportunity to register for NRCs or who indeed only qualified now could quickly register, do their civil registration by way of NRC and proceed to register as voters. So we feel that the registration exercise needs to be extended to December 31st from the November 11 deadline that was earlier pronounced. Voter registration is a way is way too important to be approached with the indifference that we have witnessed so far, with the insufficient publicity and advertising. We believe mishandling and mismanagement of the registration process is a precursor to rigging, and we shall not allow ECZ to create an enabling environment for electoral malpractice. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, I wish to thank you most sincerely for your kind attention, and I can only wish you God's blessings. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Mundubile, for that explanation. Honorable Mundubile has raised a number of issues on the two subjects that he has discussed. On the discredited Bill 7, he has questioned the timing to change the Constitution. This is too close to election period, but also people needed ample time to input into the content. Besides that, there's been a technical committee that has been sworn in. The composition, he has questioned the composition of this technical committee, but also terms of reference to the technical committee have not been availed. People do not know what this technical committee will be doing. Besides that, he also questioned the terms of reference, like I've mentioned. Are they going to use the terms of reference that were presented to Parliament? What is it that they're going to use? But also, are they going to give people ample time to make submissions to these technical committees? So some of these, these are some of the questions that he has raised. Concerning the mass voter registration, he has outlined some of the challenges and concerns, and these are lack of communication. There hasn't been enough communication. You know, voter sensitization has not been done. People are aware that there's this exercise going on in their areas, but also the time frame that has been given, 4 days per polling station, is it enough? So these are some of the issues that he has raised. We will now give our colleagues from the media time to ask questions on the two subjects that have been discussed today. We'll ask you to introduce yourself and the media organization you're coming from. Please be brief, one question at a time. Media, any questions? Yes, please. Your name and media organization you're coming from.
Prime TV. Honorable, two main questions that I have. The first one is, as a presidential aspirant, there have been a number of challenges happening within the Tonse Alliance, and PF being one of the big political parties in the Tonse Alliance. I'd like to get your view as a presidential aspirant, and maybe going forward, what would be your suggestions in managing the current wrangles that are happening in the Tonse Alliance. Then, yesterday we did see some fracas happening at the main radio station, where the acting PF president, Mr. Given Winda, was supposed to appear. I'd like to get your comments over that, and some quotas suggesting that maybe there could be some infights in the PF which could have led to what is happening there, and unfortunately maybe linking them to you specifically. So I'd like to get your view of what happened yesterday. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Oswald. So one question per person. Yes, sir.
My name is Makuma Chilava from Millennium Radio. My question may also be linked to Oswald's question. In your preamble, you said that you are pushing for issue-based politics. But looking at the fact that your party, the PF, and an extension of the Tonse, there is wrangling. I want to find out, since I said charity begins at home, how's your relationship with Mr. Given looking at the fact that there may be two centers of power within the PF? Thank you.
Thank you so much for those questions. One more. Okay, so we already have 3 questions. Honorable Mundubile, could you please respond to the 3 questions?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Members of the press, as I said in my earlier statement, we are here to issue our drive is to resolve the many challenges Zambia as a country is going through. You will agree with me that Zambia as a country needs a committed leadership, a leadership that is going to attend to the many challenges that we are going through. Today, as I speak to you, if you look at the cost of living, Awantwale Chula, today the youths remain unemployed. Today, our farmers have sold their produce to FRA and are not paid. There are challenges right across the country. The load shedding is now up to 20 hours. So clearly what the country needs first, prolonged hours of load shedding, the high cost of living, among others. So when you talk about the challenges in political parties, every political party, every organization has its own challenges. And sometimes these challenges have been mishandled because they've been handled in the press. I believe that the challenges that are within my political party or the alliance that we belong to are not insurmountable. But we don't need to lose focus. We can't abandon finding solutions for the Zambian people and focus on your so-called squabbles within the political party. I believe that those challenges are being handled within those particular organizations, but we must be very quick to ensure that we don't lose sight of the many challenges that Zambians are going through. Honorable Given Lubinda is my big brother. I enjoy a very good relationship with him. I worked with him when I was minister. He was Minister of Justice. I was Minister of the province. I enjoyed a very close working relationship with him when I was government chief whip and he was still at Justice. We, had to work very, very closely. He remains my very good friend, older brother. You'll be happy to know that if GL, I call him GL, our acting president, calls me at 23 hours to go to his house for a meeting, I immediately drive to his house and we sit down and have coffee and chat. So there is no squabble, there is no fight whatsoever between me and Comrade Given Lubinda. He remains my big brother and he remains the acting president of my party. So for those that may want to see some spark around that, it simply doesn't exist. The simple reason, for those of us that are competing for the position of presidents of the party, we are not enemies. You should come behind the scenes and find that we have lunch together almost every other day. We also have drinks together almost every other day. So the differences people would want to see simply don't exist. So to answer your question, we enjoy a very good relationship, myself with Honorable Given Lubinda and all other presidential aspirants, and that is as it should be. I thank you.
Thank you. Questions, Honorable dear colleagues from the media. since everything was clear.
Oh yes, the issue of the thugs. Sorry, thanks for the reminder, Honourable. Yeah, it was very unfortunate. I only got to see that later in the day. I want to start by condemning whoever sent thugs to go and disrupt a radio program at Radio Phoenix. Obviously, even for the person that asked the question, I'm sure that having been on the political scene for a very long time, when you hear that Brian Mundubile sent thugs, yourself, before you even ask, I'm sure you said it can't happen. It doesn't happen like that. The politics that we exercise are not politics of violence. Our politics are politics that bring solutions to the table. The Zambian people were treated to a million promises by the UPND government about the many things that they would do for them. Today, the Zambian people remain very disappointed. So mine, as a politician and a presidential aspirant, I wouldn't waste time to gather thugs and set them on a colleague, on an acting president of my party, a big brother. That's inconceivable. To even start thinking like that is very unfortunate. I'm sure by now, you, our colleagues in the media, are able to profile us individually as politicians. You will know that which we can do and that which we can't do. I'm happy that even a person who asked the question must have been very troubled when he heard that my name was linked to violence. So we wish to condemn all those that think violence has its place in today's politics. Today, people believe in dialogue. People believe that disputes must be handled through dialogue. And today, what is very urgent that every politician, every leader worth their salt should be focused on is finding solutions for the many challenges that this country faces today. So if we bane imirimo tuimishe yakubombela bena Zambia. Abena Zambia from all walks of life. Bali sendele filayo efe ba UPND na ba president akainde ichilema batwikire okutila banenga naisa bali chijob muliwe bali u fix it bali today ile kuisa slogan ya ganshi most of you are youths here ile kuisa slogan ya bali chijob muliwe. So if we ntungulushino mefo tusakamene fya kutila we have a group of disappointed youths, a group of disappointed civil servants. Because today, if you talk about the civil service, there is nothing to talk about. People that have spent 25 years of dedicated service in the civil service today are packed at cabinet office. For what reason? Only God knows. These are people straight from university, started working in government. They dedicated their lives, patriotic service to government, to save the people of Zambia. Those civil servants, the 400 civil servants at cabinet office, are the reasons why you had bumper harvest under the Patriotic Front from year in, year out, are the reasons why you had massive infrastructure, clinics, hospitals, schools, communication towers. Those civil servants are the reason why load shedding was limited to 2, at most 4 hours. But today, they've been packed at cabinet office. There has to be a solution. We can't waste that skilled manpower packed away at cabinet office when they're supposed to be in their offices to help this government understand that you can't resolve challenges of load shedding by exporting power. You can never solve challenges of load shedding by introducing middlemen to come and trade in power, and you pretend that they're helping the country. You cannot resolve challenges of this country using rhetoric. So today, as I speak to you, challenges in political parties will continue to happen, but violence should not find its place anywhere in our political space. We should condemn all those, whoever took it upon themselves to provide resources, be it transport and money, and send cadres. Those are hungry cadres that need employment, cadres whose energies can be deployed in productive sectors. To send them to go and beat up somebody in today's politics, that is really unfortunate. So let's all condemn whoever was involved, whether they were from the UPND, they were from PF, or from whatever political party. So this address, the condemnation of violence, is not restricted to one political grouping. That goes right across the political divide. We must condemn violence and condemn it in the strongest of terms. I thank you very much.
Thank you. Any more questions? Yes, sir.
Yes, Honorable. Just to take it back to the constitution making process. Last week when the President was swearing in the committee, he ably tried to explain the diversity of the committee and the people involved in the committee. And today, fortunately for us as a media, we get to cover both sides. And today, you have clearly said there are some political operatives of the UPND on that particular committee. Maybe I would like you to speak to specifics of maybe who you consider a political operative on that particular committee, because you mentioned that a committee should have the church and all these other diverse people from diverse backgrounds. We have the church represented in that particular committee. We have traditional leadership and the CSOs also represented. And part of the President's delivery was that he took time to listen to the submissions of the CSOs before the bill was deferred, and he and the government decided to push for that bill to be deferred so that they could get consultations from the people on the ground and obviously back on that constitution making process. As the opposition, don't you think maybe they should be given some time to see whether or not they'll abide by what the concerns most people have been raising leading to the Bill 7? Thank you very much.
Thank you for that question.
Thank you. Thank you very much once again. Yeah, I'm happy that you took us back to Bill 7. You need to understand that there's a constitutional Concord judgment that declared the process leading up to Bill 7 unconstitutional. So ideally, by that pronouncement, Constitutional Amendment Bill number 7 is dead. What is worrisome is that the President is very reluctant to withdraw Bill 7 from Parliament. That should be of concern to every Zambian. Every Zambian should be concerned why the President is not withdrawing Bill 7 from Parliament. Now, let me explain to you the complication that this raises. By appointing this committee has started working on Bill 7. But Bill 7 is also at Parliament. Are we together? It's in two places. It's at the legislature, it's also with the executive. The processes should be that when a bill is crafted, whether by civil society or any grouping agreed upon, it is sponsored by the Minister of Justice. When the Minister of Justice tenders it on the floor of the House, it leaves the executive, it's now surrendered to the internal processes of Parliament. But today, it's at Parliament, it's also with the executive. So what we are starting with is to condemn the process through which this constitutional reform process is being undertaken. There is no transparency. You can't have this in two places. And number two, the fact that the Concord pronounced itself on that particular bill, it should have been withdrawn. What we would have expected, if you may give me a minute to explain to you, if there was sincerity and openness in this particular process, once the committee was appointed, the committee was supposed to sit and come up with a design. You may call it a roadmap, the design on how they're going to implement this constitutional amendment process. Through that design, they were also going to come up with the resources in terms of financial and human resources, the number of meetings, the level of consultation, and so on and so forth, with the many stakeholders. So they would have started going the country to get submissions from the people. The people would have made their submissions, whether on the earlier submissions that culminated into Bill 7 or new submissions. But what is happening now, they want to restrict the people's submissions to what is contained in Bill 7. That's where the problem comes in. So Bill 7 is dead, but the executive would like to give it life, would like to revive it and turn it into a source document for these particular consultations. If that was not the case, why hasn't it been withdrawn? So we want President Hakainde Hichilema to understand that this process of constitution making is a very, very important process, as it were. And we would like it to be done through established channels, through established conventions, as it were. The process being undertaken now has not been seen anywhere in the world. As maybe President normally likes to score first, it's for the first time in the world that you'll have a bill before Parliament. And also have it at with the executive. So if you look at the composition of the committees that have come in the past, a common feature there would be LAS. I'm sure even for you, you're wondering why LAS is not there. The Law Association of Zambia. Okay? So LAS is a permanent feature in similar committees. The three mother church bodies, they're a common feature in these similar committees. Other professional bodies. So clearly, if you talk about consultation or the people that spoke on Bill 7, LAS spoke very high, they made their submissions on Bill 7. If I told the criteria was to invite those that had made comments, LAS should have been the first ones to be called. Okay, the churches should have been the first ones to be called, and many others. Yeah, so we have our reservations. I may not go into the actual names. I don't think that is necessary. But to just maybe open you up, your mind a little, you should wonder why LAS is not there. You should wonder why the churches are not there. So the moment you begin to cherry pick who should appear on a committee, then you know that you have a problem. So indeed, we know that we have a problem in this particular process. The youths, the student bodies, where are they? You also know and agree with me that process protects content. So if we begin to fail on the basics, where the composition of a committee begins to raise questions, you can discern what sort of product you're going to have at the end of the day. So those will be my comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Mundubile. We have to end here due to limited time. Honorable